Good morning, everyone. Hope that you are doing well and having a great day. Today is Wednesday, May 27th. And so today we're going to continue talking about Japan, Edo Japan, a closed off society. We're going to continue talking about part two. So, everyone, just a second. Okay, everyone. So, here is what we're going to be talking about today. So, we left off last time talking about the shogun, talking about the exclusion laws or isolation policy that he had adopted. He wanted to make sure that Japan was not interacting too much with any other countries because he was scared that it would have a negative impact on his power, and he wanted to maintain Japanese society and culture the way that it was. So, Japan had changed very little during isolation. Today, we're going to talk about what Edo Japan looked like within this isolation policy. So, of course, Edo Japan had a long time to establish its own particular kind of society. Because it was isolated from other countries, it made all of its own decisions about what they wanted life to look like, what they wanted their culture to look like, what they wanted their beliefs and values to look like, because they weren't impacted by any other countries when it comes to their culture, their beliefs, and values. And so, in Japan, what they wanted was to live in a society that embodied these things. So peace, safety, security, harmony, respect, a sense that everyone has his or her place, leisure time, opportunities for personal expression, enjoyment of the arts, sports, entertainment, and crafts. You can see that many of these things kind of reflect their beliefs and values that we've explored so far as we've been talking about Japan. However, the peace and security in Edo Japan, it came at a cost. Life, of course, was still controlled by rigid rules. The feudal hierarchy structure still was maintained. Everyone was expected to have their role and fulfill the expectations of that role. People could not move from their social class of birth. They were not encouraged to think for themselves. And so there was little personal freedom and not really much freedom of expression. People were expected to act and behave a certain way. And so the influence of the shogun believed that outside influences would contaminate Japanese society. And so not all threats, however, not all threats to peace and order come from outside a country's borders. There was still some crime in Japan, bandits, robbers, and then of course pirates were common during this time. However, the social controls and the threat of harsh punishments that Japan already had under the Tokugawa shogunate were effective in discouraging this type of behavior in Japan. So, some good news about this time, there was an economic boom going on, which means that Japan was very good at making its own resources. Which resulted in more wealth for the country. And so this resulted from long periods of stability and peace. So some of these things that were happening were farmers were increasing their production by irrigating, growing two crops on the same piece of land. Road improvements were financed by the daimyo that helped increase trade within Japan. The population increased in urban centers. Silver and gold coins were introduced as currency. However, little foreign trade and the overtaxing of peasants. And in some cases, they did still continue to use rice for payments, and this held the economy back. And so even though they were experiencing an economic boom, their economy wasn't expanding as much as it could be if they were allowing foreign trade. So there's a picture of an Edo market, and there's a picture of the agricultural technology, and of course they would have been farming their rice there, producing rice. And then, of course, it was a golden age of culture. So there were many cultural things that were happening in Japan during this time. Some of them were the kabuki, a form of theater. Of course, Japanese tea ceremonies. Sumo wrestling from ancient times became a popular form of entertainment in Edo, Japan. Some other things, of course, if you remember haikus, they were writing haikus. It was a common form of poetry during the Edo period. And then they also had puppet theaters, so bunraku. And then in this, you can see the wood print woodblock print art. And so there was also a lot of that during that time. And so that brings me to your little activity for today. So today what you're going to be doing is, of course, reading pages 314 to 319, the second little part of chapter 14. And so you're looking at when in isolation a country can still experience growth and change. So you're going to complete this table here. Complete this table with 3 ideas. So 3 political changes, 3 economic changes, 3 social changes that Japan experienced during the isolation. So you can see here that I've included a whole bunch of ideas here for you. So political is kind of hard because there weren't a lot of big political changes that happened during this time. The shogun still retained his sole power. Feudal system was maintained. Life in Edo, Japan was controlled by strict rules. But the shogun did also pass these isolation or exclusion laws to eliminate threats to his power, to protect the Japanese culture. And the shogunate tightened controls on movement, so requiring special documents for travel. So those are also a couple things that happened. And if you want more information on those, you can check out page 306 to 308 in the text. Okay, going back to this. So the economic changes we just talked about, agricultural production increased, road improvements, money system was introduced, and then of course social or cultural changes. So the population increased, arts and culture flourished. You can talk about any of the forms of arts that you would like. Of course, those are found on page 317 and 318. And then sumo wrestling also became a popular form of entertainment. So you can see I give you some ideas here to complete this second part. So you're reading the little part of the textbook and then just completing this table. Okay, perfect. So thanks so much everyone for your time. Hope you enjoyed watching this little video and hope it was helpful for you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Okay, bye.